Okay, we're just going to start off on our second to the last class on issues that one or two of you have questions about, or something that you have your own experience that you want to mention, or even ask questions. And there's one thing I wanted to say is that when the class is over, this is fail or this is a pass fail class. So that's what's great, is that you won't be receiving a grade. And I don't have to give you one, but please go over your syllabus, because the final exam is like 40%. And we made the final exam 40% because it really tells us whether or not you've been learning. And if you can't pass that final exam, I am very nervous about you going into the world and interpreting. And so it's really important that you do pass, and then that way, if as long as you've been here for most of the classes, because it will affect your grade as well. But as long as you've been here and you turned in your homework, then or you returned it in if you wanted to redo it, then that's a good chance that you'll pass. And once you pass, I don't know if the school will issue anything like you took this class. I think they're supposed to. I'm not sure how it works, but that comes through KCC. And so we're still trying to find that out. But I know that they lost some of their assistant who was helping with all of that. And now they got them all hired back again. So we should find that out soon. So anyway, just to let you know, hopefully you will receive something in the mail saying you completed this course, and a certificate of completion or something. So we'll see. But anyway, I want all of you to start interpreting. So let's talk about, especially those who have experience. I'm going to ask, just got to call on Brenda, if that's okay. You actually have interpreted in the court. Is that right? In the courtroom?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Can you explain what you feel is the good things about that, or the easier parts? What you think is more difficult?
I don't think interpreting for the court is any easier at all. I don't think it's an easy job. Last one that I did, so it was for mom and dad, and I had to sit in the middle of both of them, and it was hard because I'm trying to talk to both of them, and it was really challenging. It was so hard. Yeah.
So do you mean you needed to do simultaneous?
Kind of, yes. Um,
And
and
both of
also
them were defendants, or is this a family matter?
it was a family
Or
matter.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. But there it wasn't like divorce where they
Yes,
had to be separated, or you were
yes,
the
that's
only
correct.
interpreter.
Yeah, they just were represented by different lawyers, and
But
I
you were the
it
only
was
interpreter, so they put them together for you to interpret?
it was all for one case, yeah, but they had to put him like on both sides of me so I can, because one of them is another lawyer and the other one is with another lawyer, so it was kind of hard.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And let me just say this to all of you. If you ever have to interpret for two people, the best thing to do, unless it's consecutive, but if it's such as like the court case where people are talking, lawyers are talking, and all you're doing is interpreting simultaneously, the best thing to do is have them sit as close as they can, and you move behind them. So you will pull your whole chair back, and then you're interpreting in this person's right ear and in this person's left ear. So and so it's basically, if this is their head and this is my head, you're basically interpreting like this. And so you're not in the middle of them, because if you're
Yeah.
in the middle of them, your voice will go out like that. And if you're only looking at one of them and not the other, so you just go yourself back. Of course, if they hate each other, they're getting a divorce, that's a different story. But if you move them back like this, and then you can talk and you can whisper simultaneous, and both of them will hear. And sometimes that's needed, whether it be for housing or government or even a teaching. Let's say somebody is teaching on how to do CPR on a baby, and you're teaching the grandparents, or not you're teaching, but you're there to interpret for the grandparents. I always put them next to each other, and then I move my chair back and I sit behind them. So anyway, just to tell everybody
Yeah.
that. So, but go ahead, Brenda.
Yeah, and then it was really nerve-wracking. I was, oh, it was my first time doing both, and yes, and I also was kind of intimidated.
Because of
I guess the setting with all the, I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's just a
okay, so the setting itself
nervous.
is nerve
Yeah,
wracking. Got it, got it. And that's true. It's the setting that makes you nervous because it seems so serious. Is that it?
that's
It's
correct.
and it
Yes.
has big
Yeah.
consequences.
Yes.
Good, good, good. Well, what is anything? So you don't think anything is easy at all? You don't
No,
think
I don't think
anything?
so, especially if I have never, and also
Mhm.
I'm not really familiar with any of their big words.
Procedures?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so I had to, yeah, keep
mhm.
repeating myself and ask the judge, keep asking, can you repeat that? Can you say
Can
that
you
again?
repeat that for the interpreter, Your
Yes.
Honor? Your Honor, can you repeat that for the interpreter? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, good. And let me just tell you, the courts right now here in Hawaii, they really don't have any Marshallese interpreters. The one that they used to have, Daisy, maybe you know, she actually passed away of a heart attack a few years ago, and
That's
she was the
funny.
only
That's my
one.
auntie.
Oh, wow. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I'm sorry. It was so sudden then, yeah.
Yeah.
And she was my student a while ago.
Oh,
And even so, yeah, she improved a lot when she started doing it. But yeah, after her, it's they just yeah. So it's
yeah.
hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. And she was really good at traffic. But this personal stuff can be very difficult because there's
Hmm.
a lot of emotions involved if it's family court. If it's traffic court, there's not a lot of emotions. It's either
Yeah.
you pay the fine, you did this or whatever. So have you gone to other court places besides
I
family?
that maybe one, I think one or two traffic, but
Is it
those
easier
they didn't show
or
up. Yeah, it was easy. They didn't, yeah, they never showed
makes
up.
it easy? Okay, makes it easier.
Yeah.
Good, good. Now, last week I was in court, and in fact, I should probably tell all of you because today they suddenly called. In fact, I don't know what, maybe I should just send you all an email when I have a court case on Zoom. And then you can all get on Zoom if you want to, and you can watch it. So today before me, they had a Japanese interpreter, and then they called me saying the interpreter in person called in sick. Are you able to go? And I said, I'm not, but I can do Zoom. And then they said, okay, we're going to do Zoom. So then I got to be involved on Zoom, which was great. I was really happy. I could stay home. But the first one was a Japanese interpreter. And what's interesting is that when they called the case, you can see in the courtroom what's happening. And the
Mhm.
Japanese interpreter walked forward and stood there, but she didn't tell her client to come forward. So it might have been her first time to meet, but this is something that as interpreters, we need to pay attention, especially with languages that people don't pronounce it correctly. They don't pronounce the name correctly. And so sometimes they don't even hear their name being called. And so sometimes they hear something and they're nervous, and especially if they're in a place they've never been. So I think it's our job to stand up and just say, oh, you can come now, or come, the doctor's calling you, or come, the court is calling you. Let's go forward, especially if we're the ones with more experience. And then we bring them forward, and we can even tell them where to stand if we want to. But in this case, the interpreter, they said, who's here? And I'm here. And then the interpreter said, I'm here. And she said her name. And then she looked back at the client and didn't say anything. And then the judge says, Miss So and so, can you come, please? And the interpreter did, Mrs. Watanabe, can you come forward, please? And the interpreter didn't say anything. She didn't interpret any of that. And it's almost as if the interpreter's thinking they have to be here at the table before I begin to interpret. And that's not true. Even when they're calling your
Well,
name,
yeah,
we
especially
have
with
to interpret,
court. Yeah, especially with
especially with
court, they're
court.
not gonna cross the bar,
Or-
right? If that there's no way, it's too intimidating. They
It's
need
very
to be,
intimidating.
yeah,
They have to open that bar door in order to
yeah.
go in and stand there at the table. And some of them just, and then, so in this case, she stood up and just stood there. And then the judge says, you can come forward. And then I think the interpreter finally opened the gate. But,
Yeah,
that to
yeah,
me, I blame the interpreter for not
yeah.
helping.
I totally agree. Every people I ever had in court were actually super clingy. Because I mean, in court, and it's really not, it's not natural. It's not a cultural thing. It's the court setting. They cling to you because they don't know, they have zero idea what's going on. And they're like, yeah. And it's just, it has consequences on their lives. So, yeah.
Yeah. So and so I thought that was kind of odd. It was just really too bad. And I actually wrote it down. I'm saying, oh, I really should talk to her about it because I know her. But the other thing was when they yeah, so where they were standing. So I never stand like that. And I think we talked about this. I never stand side by side because you'll have to turn your head and look at them when you're interpreting. Or when you're interpreting, it goes up into the air. So we want to move back and next to them, and we interpret from behind them through their ear. And then they don't feel intimidated because you're right in their face like that, but you're back here, so they don't feel intimidated. And it also encourages them to have direct communication by looking at whoever's talking to them. So I think that's really important, is that
But
we're
you you
encouraging
you
that.
you have to do it in a way because they're gonna follow you, right? If you take a step back, they will immediately follow you. So
Yeah,
you
so
have
this
to,
is
yeah,
court,
yeah,
but
yeah.
in the hospital situations, a little bit different unless you're doing simultaneous. So in the hospital situation, a doctor might walk in or the nurse walks in, and then there's always a chair for someone to sit. They always know where the patient's supposed to sit. So they will tell them, okay, you sit here, and if there's somebody with them, you can sit next to them. And they look at me like, oh, you said, oh, like their spouse or son, oh, you can have a seat because I'm a woman, right? And I always say, oh, no, 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 I'll just stand over here by the door. And then I always follow it with, we're always standing. It's fine. We're always standing. It's fine. So I will stand by the door. I'll get out of the way. If there is a seat, I usually take it so I'm out of the way. So we need to be invisible. And that just means we're out of the way. You don't want to like hide yourself in the corner, but a lot of the hospital rooms, they're small little squares, right? They're small little rooms. And so we have to make sure we remain out of the way. We don't want to be in between the doctor and the patient so that I'm important and it has to go through me. We want to be out of the way because all we are is a voiceover. We're just throwing out our voice. Yeah. So sometimes if the doctor's going to go in a long explanation, or if the patient and their relative is talking to each other, like in Chinese, I need to go by the doctor or say to the doctor in a very whispered simultaneous. I need to start whispering simultaneous everything that they're saying. Okay. And we talked about that before. Yeah. And when it comes to simultaneous, and then you switch back to consecutive. So we want to make sure that that we're out of the way. But in this kind of situation, when it's simultaneous, and I think the court is probably 80% to 90% simultaneous, because most of the time they're not talking to the person you're interpreting for, even if it's the defendant. Only during only if they admit guilt, and then there's question answer. But even during the questions can be long. Do you know that you're giving up your right to a trial to be tried by 12 uh, people of the community to become your juror? I mean, that's really long.
And
So
for
maybe,
grand jury too, that's,
and
pretty
I'm not
much.
going to mention what a grand jury is, but because it's complicated. The court, there's a lot of procedures, And all you have to worry about if you're ever asked to go to court is what procedure are you going to? There's a trial is never you go to court and have a trial. It's never like that. You go to court and then they're going to read the charges and you admit or don't admit. And if you say, nope, I plead guilty, they'll say, okay, go get a lawyer, or I'm going to enter no guilty. You go not guilty on your behalf and you got to go see the public defender. The public defender, you come back and they say, did you see the public defender? Yeah, but I don't qualify. I make too much money. So we say, okay, then I'm going to give you more time. Another month, we're going to come back and then go see if you can get a private lawyer, because this is a misdemeanor. This is a serious crime. So I want you to have a lawyer. And then they come back a month later and then they say, did you get a lawyer? Oh, no, no one. Yes, I got a lawyer, but they said that they're not ready today and they need me to postpone it again. They say, okay, we're going to postpone it. And they keep just continuing the case. So it could take a year or even 2 years before a case is done. So the whole thing is that a lot of times it's all simultaneous. Usually it's not a lot of talk. It's the lawyers talking. Your Honor, we want to file a motion. We want to see the video that the police have, that they say they have, and they haven't given to us yet. And we asked them to give it to us. And then the prosecuting attorney says, yeah, but I never got this until last night. And because I never got it till yesterday, I didn't have time to go get it. Yeah, but I gave it to you in plenty of time. And then the judge says, okay, so you need to, and everyone is talking except to the defendant who you're interpreting for. So then you change to simultaneous. They're talking among everybody, you're just simultaneously interpreting. And again, in the hospital setting, it may not be that. They may constantly be talking to the patient, back and forth, back and forth. So remember, interview style, we do consecutive. If one person starts speaking nonstop and they're not stopping, we can switch. We can either take notes, take really good notes, or we can switch to simultaneous. And we decide as the interpreter. Okay? And how note-taking techniques. Yeah, so you need to develop them. Tonight we're going to practice some note-taking. So we're going to put it all together and practice. So, okay, very good. So thank you, Brenda, for saying that. Today I joined on Zoom. And I just need to remember to send out a message to everybody. Hey guys, I'll be on Zoom in this courtroom at 11:30. And if you want to join, just join the court. Just join and watch. Join the Zoom and watch. But remember, just to tell everybody, if you're going to join a court Zoom, it's just like you walking into the courtroom to watch. All the courtroom are free except family court. Then you need to write who you are, but you need to write observer, and then your name, like Zane, like last name. Yeah, observer, because then they'll let you in if it's open court. If it's private court, family court, they won't let you in. You'll just be sitting there waiting to be let in, and you'll never be let in if you're an observer. Okay? Yeah, so I got to remember to do that, and I apologize that I didn't do that today. Okay, so besides court, does anyone, and Chun, did you have any other questions?
Yes, my question was, ever since I taken the class, I listened to your teachings about teaching about how to be a good interpreter. Try to be invincible. We're just there as voiceover. So I try to step out of the way. I've started to just looking at my material, or just started looking at my notes, and then just try not to make eye contact. But the tendency is that I noticed that doctors look at me. They like to look at me. The patients like to look at me. And I have had situations where the doctor, thought of me, I guess, as part of the team and asked me to assist in holding on to the patient and assist him in his procedure. In a way, it's a minor procedure. I don't know. I forgot what it was. Just hold his leg or just hold him in this position. So I had to jump in and do that. But is it impolite or I mean, is it appropriate? I don't know, because he has nurses over there, but he's calling me of all people in the room, and he has trainees over there. of all people, he called me. He said, "Why don't you just hold on to this? Why don't you know?" I became the doctor's assistant over there. So I mean, I just want to share this.
Yeah.
That happened
Well,
to me too. That happens to me regularly.
I-
To be a doctor told, because I did ask the question to a doctor once. I said, "You have a nurse. What, why did you ask me?" And I explained that we were, we teaching, and it's just a good experience for our students to know. And then he said that in the the particular case I was in, he said that the patient was really nervous. And so he thought that of all people in the room, I would be the one she would trust a bit better because of the language, and that's the reason he did it,
Yeah, and you asked afterwards, not
Yeah.
before.
Oh yeah, no, of
Yeah,
course.
you
Yeah,
just said
no,
it.
no. Yeah,
So, and Chen, I think that I don't see a problem with that. If he said, "Can you hold it?" I'm sure I'll help. I don't mind. But if I'm trying to take notes because he's talking really a lot, I sometimes I got time to take notes. I'm so sorry. Can you help maybe? And so yeah, I just take a note. But if you're not really, if it's just like hold still, okay, this is gonna pinch. Okay, I'm almost done. I mean, that's, you don't need to take notes on that. So yeah, I don't have a problem with that unless it's disease related where you should be wearing gloves and you're not. And I don't think he'd ask you to become a nurse. I think it's more like what she said, could you hold his leg still? Because he's got Parkinson's and he's, keeps moving and I've got to give him a shot. I mean, it's something simple like that, where the doctor does not feel any fear in having you, a non-nurse, help. So yeah, I don't have a problem. And the other day, one person was going to have a procedure, and it was a pretty serious procedure of the child. The child was going to have a procedure, and they wanted a live interpreter. So I went. No one else was available, so I went. And then after they explained the risks and how the benefits outweigh the risks, they had me sign. What do you think I was signing? What do you think I was signing? I was signing something. What do you think it was? Those of you who have no experience, I mean, who don't go to the hospital regularly. How about Lonia? What do you think I was signing?
What do you mean by signing?
Sign a signature. I had to put my signature on a piece of paper.
Oh, okay. What was the
So
purpose
this
of you
person,
signing?
again, remember, the kid was having surgery. Or it was an adult, I don't remember, but they were having surgery. And it was a very serious surgery. So they wanted the interpreter in person, not over the phone. And, oh, I remember, it was a daughter and a father. Their English was good, but they still wanted an interpreter. And afterwards, the nurse had me sign some paperwork. What do you think that I was signing?
Privacy?
Rafia, what?
It is a privacy?
No, not privacy, no. We should all remain private, no matter what. We should be through the HIPAA training and everything
Okay.
should remain confidential. And you all know that already, right? Everything is confidential. Yeah. But
Confidential.
no, I didn't have to sign that. I rarely have to sign anything as an interpreter in the hospital. But in
No,
this
hold on.
case, they wanted me to sign, and I did sign, and no problem. Hune or Iris, what do you think?
I'm not sure, but I guess it's kind of the consent form something.
I'm not consenting to
Yeah,
anything.
No, you are not.
I cannot guess it.
If
Okay.
anything needs to happen, you have to pay.
Okay, let me ask Hune.
I think.
Yeah, sorry, I have no idea.
I think you sign something so that the doctor know that they fully understand what you were explaining to them.
So do you think I was signing saying, yeah, they understand?
No,
You think that
It's just your signature that's letting him know that, okay, they do understand what she was explaining.
but
to
I
them.
don't know if they understand or not. I would never sign something saying they understand. because I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe maybe it's a document say that they agree they accepted kind of service.
I'm
So
signing, not them. Okay. I'm saying maybe they signed some papers, but I'm the one signing. Lonia, what do you think?
Is it the form that when something happens to the patient, as the interpreter, you would be responsible to let the father know of what is happening or something?
So they want the interpreter to step out of my interpreting role, and then I got to go and let the father know something and let them know something. No, I'm not going to step out of my role. I'm not going to ever step out of my role. Yeah,
Okay.
good guess. These are good guesses.
My guess is liability, that you are not responsible for anything that happened, or if anything was to happen to the patient, that you are not responsible. Right?
No. Why would I sign? I would never be responsible anyway. I'm not doing anything. I'm not performing an operation.
Uh,
Go ahead,
Is
Hune.
something for that you will be interpreting from the beginning until the end of the procedure to
We were
interpret?
done. We were
Ah.
done already. And the procedure was the following day or 2 days from then. I don't know when. But it was, I had to sign and then I left. We were done.
For the payment?
Oh, no.
No?
That's a total company thing. It wasn't me.
You signed that everything is being explained to them.
Absolutely. I signed that I interpreted everything.
Right.
That's it. I'm not
Yay!
responsible for doing the operation. And yeah, you guys don't blame me if I don't. No, they're not going to do that. So, but they do want to cover their own butts, so to say. They want to cover their own responsibility so that if something goes wrong and the patient decides to sue them saying, you never told me this could happen, they have proof that they not only told you, but they even had it interpreted. So that consent form has on it, even though these are the risks, blah, 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 and the doctor went over every risk, you could have complications from blood loss. It could be a spinal cord injury from the operation, and this other risk, blah, blah, blah. Do you understand that? Now, do you still want to go through it? In every 100,000 that this would ever happen, that you would get this virus, and you may want to catch this, virus from this. But the point is that they're saying, do you understand the risks and do you still want it? Then the interpreter signs saying, yeah, I interpreted everything into their language. Boom. So if they're taken to court, they can say, I not only explained the risks to them, but we used an interpreter in their language. And I have her signature. So if I need to call her as a witness, we can. Yeah. So, and they also have another, in fact, that day I signed 2 forms. One form just says I'm a witness. I'm a witness that everything was explained. And I said, sure, I'll sign because I am a witness. But if they ask me, I'm not going to remember. Next week, I probably won't even remember if that happened. But if I sign my name, I wouldn't sign it if I didn't see it, if I wasn't there, right? So it's just to cover the hospital, the doctor. Now, the insurance may want them to do that. They need a witness, and it could be anybody. It could be the nurse. It could be anybody. The nurses, but to ask the interpreter is kind of like, come on. But to ask the interpreter to sign something that they interpreted, that's fair, right? Yeah, so I usually don't have a problem doing that. Now, if they said, interpreter, could you go over this consent form and get them to sign it? And then when you're done, you can give it back to me. I would say absolutely not. Because it's such a huge responsibility. They should never put that responsibility on an interpreter to explain.
Well,
And I would say, excuse me, doctor, or whoever, or nurse, I'm not here to explain anything, but I'd be happy to interpret for you. And in other words, they need to read it to them. They're the ones who
Yeah.
need to go over it. And then I interpreted it. So you don't put yourself in that, responsibility. I've never been asked to do that as from a doctor. Thank God. But you never know, it might happen. I have been asked where the nurse says, "Hey, interpreter, if they say interpreter, could you get them to fill out this form?" Of course. Their first time, they're asked, have you ever had this disease, and they don't understand it. So I sit down with them and I say, "Do you want me to help you fill it out?" They say, "Oh, please do." Okay. And then I ask a question because this piece of paper is in English. I sight translate it. They give me the answer. I write it down. I sight translate it. Give me the answer. I write it down. That's not a problem. But when it comes to reading like a consent form or what this means, that's a big responsibility. I'm not going to be in charge, but I'll be happy to interpret. Okay. Okay. So, anyone else want to bring up anything? Like something that happened to you or something that you went to, or those of you who have experience. I know, David, you go a lot. I know Brenda goes a lot. Patricia.
I wanted to about an experience that I probably would have missed the case if I hadn't went ahead and tried to find out. It was a court case, and I got there half an hour early, and I sit down and I waited, and I was sent to the wrong courtroom. Yes. Yeah. So I was like, wait, I don't see anybody here, and it's almost time. So I didn't know that I was actually talking to the well, actually the bailiff came before me, and I guess she recognized me because yeah, I waited at the wrong place. So I went and I talked to somebody, and they were like looking around and trying to find out what court room I was supposed to go to. And she recognized me, and she's like, "Oh, you're supposed to come over here." I guess they already have that piece of paper. Yeah. So yeah, that was my experience.
That's excellent. And that, I did that last week. It was my fault. I drove to, it's called dermatology and plastic surgery. And so I drove all the way to Hawaii Kai because this I think I don't know if it belongs to Kaiser or I don't know what it is. Maybe it's Kaiser. I don't know, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Anyway, I drove there and they said, "Oh, what is this for?" And they look at the paper and they search. They go, "Oh, this is for tomorrow. This isn't today. This isn't for 9:00. This is for 10:30." And I said, "Oh, I have another one that I have to go to. And I don't think I can be here at 10:30. But maybe you can let the agency know, but I think it was the insurance company asked for the interpreter to go. So there was a miscommunication with the insurance company and the doctor. So then I said, "Well, maybe you can call them and work that out." In the meantime, I'm going to go to another one at 9:30. So what was interesting is the second day I had the same doctor and the same different patient, but the same dermatology and plastic surgery. So I drove all the way out in the rain to Hawaii Kai, and they looked at it and they go, "Oh, this isn't here." I'm like, "Where's this?" "Oh, this is in the Kahala Mall area." I'm like, "You mean 5 minutes from my home?" And it starts in like 10 minutes. Oh my, and it's raining. And then when I said, "Oh, these guys got to tell me," and I'm looking, and it clearly stated on there that this is in Hawaii, this is in Kahala Mall. So, and then I found out that day that there's two different locations, and the doctor goes back and forth. And so what happened is that it was my fault for not reading that timesheet that it was given to me, or the job that was given to me. I did not read very carefully. And so, of course, I called the company and I said, "Could you please let them know I'll probably be 5 minutes late?" And asked them about parking. I've never been there before. is your parking. So you always want to know that. Yeah. So that was my fault. Oh, well.
Actually, that is a good um it's a good reminder, because you really want to read your timesheet early enough, right? Like way before, I mean, your assignment, unless it's of course last minute, but even if it's last minute, because it happened only once to me, but the office once made an error, made a mistake with a patient of mine, and lucky that I was following that patient, so I knew that that was really it was just the location was all wrong, the doctor for that patient was all wrong, and so I called the office, and they did actually made they made an error. Again, it only happened once, right? But for that reason, I think you really got to be careful with how you really read your sheet. Don't assume anything. Yeah.
Don't assume. Yeah.
Yeah.
I prepared. I go, oh, look, this is going to be about the skin or whatever. And I prepared, but I didn't look at the location. I only looked at what it was about. And so I learned a big lesson. And this is last week. I've been doing this for years. So,
I have a question.
yes.
Sorry. So what if like you don't show up for the court hearing without saying anything? Are you like, do they charge you or like give you anything?
As a court interpreter, you'd be very interested in this. I know some companies do charge if the interpreter is a no-show. I know that the company I work with, they minus $20 from your pay as a no-show, because the office staff has spent a lot of time and money on getting everything prepared for that. So, answering the calls and getting that and sending out confirmations and calling you or sending out you this or that. So they've spent time and money. And so the company can't make any money when you don't go and you just forget. If you're sick, that's a different story.
It also has consequences on the defendant himself.
Well, before we talk about court,
right?
before we talk about court, I'm just talking about companies, private companies. So I know that this private company, that's what they do. And also I think it's to deter interpreters to not show up, because there are certain interpreters who will just take things lightly. Another thing that I know that bothers interpreters bothers a company is when interpreters call in last minute. Oh, I have a family emergency. And it's like, that's what you said last time. And that's what you said last time. And it's like, okay, maybe you're not reliable anymore. And then they start calling you less and less because you're just not reliable. So they may not charge you for that, but if it's true, then you just have to let them know way ahead of time. And the same with the court. You need to let them know. I mean, people get flat tires, they run out of gas, they get in accidents, they do have family emergencies. The child is sick, has to stay at home, and you have to be at home with them. And you just need to communicate. In America, communication is everything. If you're going to be late, you call. Hey guys, I'm going to be late. You don't just go and hope that nobody notices. That's not what we do here. So in America, when we're dealing with all these different cultures, we are the ones in America. You make the phone call, you fess up. I overslept, period. Just be honest. I overslept. I got up. I'm on my way. I'm going to be late. And they're going to ask you, how late? And you say, honestly, 15 minutes, unless there's traffic. Or you don't say 5 minutes when you know it's going to be 15, because that'll make people upset. So be honest. Maybe 20, but maybe I'll get there in 15. So maybe say 20. They will say, let us call to see if you're still needed. And then they may call you back and say, you're no longer needed. So don't even bother going. And of course, you're not going to get paid. Even if you show up and you're not needed, you're probably not going to get paid. And the same, now the court hires interpreters directly. And when they can't get anyone direct, they will go through a company like Language Service Hawaii, for example. So when they hire you directly, and the rules here in Hawaii is if you don't show up, there are no consequences. You don't get paid. No consequences. However, if you make it a habit, then they can like what's the word? They can like make a complaint where it goes through a formal process and they will call you in and have a discussion with you and say, look, if this is going to happen again, we're not going to use you. We're going to put you on hold for a while. What do you call that? We're going to suspend you for like 1 month, and then we'll let you come back in and start working again. So they can do that. And there can also be a complaint, formal complaint made from a defendant themselves or even an attorney. And then it goes through a whole process, a complaint process. And I've been a part of the committee where we've actually had to go through this whole process where you're listening to the interpreting and all this stuff. But a company, if you're working through the company, they may charge you for not showing up. Any questions? I don't know about Korea if there's any consequence, but it's hard to have consequences as a court to actually fine you when you're not breaking a law. You're just not showing up. Yeah. So as a court, it's like they have laws that they can do things, but it's not a law. Interpreter must show up or
But
else.
just to remember that you only have one reputation, so you got to really keep it up, because
Absolutely.
it doesn't take that much to ruin
Absolutely.
a reputation.
Absolutely.
So
And your reputation will ruin the company's reputation. And so I want to just be honest with you guys before Choppy, you say anything. I want to be honest. Some of you, not you, some interpreters, like through the company I work with, the staff have already labeled the interpreter this kind of interpreter. Like this interpreter is so dependable, so reliable. They always answer the phones and they always are answering quickly. So therefore, this last minute one, I'm going to ask them to take the job. And the staff, they don't care how good your interpreting is. What they care about is your response time, and your dependability. And so some people have good reputations. Others have horrible reputations. Well, good luck at finding that interpreter. Yeah, well, I sent it to them, but good luck at them answering. I mean, they never answer. They never either turn down a job. They just ignore it. They don't even whatever. Or, oh, so-and-so was late again. Or so-and-so called in late again, called in sick again. Yeah,
or
and
they accept the assignment but then cancel last minute and you cannot
That's what
find
I
anyone
mean.
else, and that's really bad.
That's what I mean. This person's always canceling last minute. Now, of course, if you have a situation where you have a really sick mother at home and they know it and you just have to explain it. So in America, we usually explain things to our staff so that they realize that we're just not making excuses. This is real my situation. And that's not a problem. But yeah, but you know what? To be honest, if the company itself has a good reputation, it's because of the interpreters. If the interpreters are doing a great job and everything, the company will have a really good reputation. They love the interpreters. Everyone is so good. Every once in a while, somebody won't show. It's okay. Yeah. So if it's the first time they're using the company and the interpreter doesn't show, that's the end of that contract. So if the company says to you, hey guys, this is the first time we've ever sent anyone with them. We're not really sure, where to park or whatever. So whatever, then oh, this is the first time. I better be on my best behavior because that will bring me more jobs in the future, right? Or you're so good that they start the patient themselves or the customer themselves or the person who's the requester will start requesting you by name. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Somebody else? Does that answer your question, Yune? Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Again, sometimes interpreters will say, the staff will say, Sue, could you call this person, or so-and-so, could you call this interpreter? I'm like, why don't you call them? Because they always lose their patience with me. Yeah, and that's bad. That's sad. Yeah, or they're scary, they're intimidating. Oh, that's not a good thing. Or they won't answer my call, but they'll answer your call. That's sad. Yeah. So as in future interpreters, guys, and this is when we're going to talk about it because this is the second to the last class. All of you should be future interpreters. Answer your phones, start getting jobs. If you don't get jobs, you call. Say, hey guys, I'm available. Any jobs? Hey guys, remember I'm over on Maui? I wonder if you have any Spanish jobs for me.
But
Choppy, I forgot.
don't overdo it because there are some interpreters who will really overdo
Well,
it,
every
you know,
day.
and
No,
both
some
if-
interpreters call it daily. Yeah, you don't want to call it daily. That's a pain. Choppy, did you want to say something? I'm sorry, I cut you off. Hold the space bar to unmute. Oh, are you on a phone? If you're on a phone, I think you have to press *6. Or are you on the Zoom on the phone? If so, you should be able to unmute yourself. I can ask you to unmute yourself, but I can't
Here.
unmute you. There you go. We can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you if something happened, things that never happened to me. I always show up. I never have a problem. I plan like way ahead because I was scary to like have my reputation like going down. I'm like that kind of person. Like also like I know the secretaries because they always like show up like 30 minutes before the patient and I just stay there like sitting down. So they just recognize me already in some of the Kaiser hospitals. That's nice of them because they always say hi and they just give me like they show me like the chair. Oh, see, like until the patient came over. But anyways, I was going to ask you, um, imagine that something happened and then like oversleep or whatever the reason is. We call, to be honest, like with the company, of course, and then no, because we wanna go, and they say like, if you are going to be like in 20 minutes, maybe like we are not going to like need you anymore. Then can we ask like, do you prefer me like to be like video or on call, like to help and just to be not
Yeah,
present?
you can always say if they don't need me, I am available by phone. Or
Okay.
video. Yeah, absolutely. You can just say that. And I think they'll probably know that too. Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure and ask.
Wait, and I noticed that you got braces recently. Is that right? Yeah, and I noticed it affects your clarity.
A
So
lot.
you really,
A
you
lot.
really got to learn
They are
how to use your
pushing my
tongue.
teeth and I have
Yeah.
all something inside like the
Yeah,
mouth.
yeah.
So painful that it's really hard for me
Mm,
sometimes to
Yeah.
talk right now.
Yeah. So I noticed that. Yeah, you just got to try twice as hard, but that's okay.
Sorry.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Any other things people want to bring up now that we have the time? Right.
I was just wondering if you are kind of nervous or feel nervous or something when you are about to interpret. How do you cope with that? Because the court where I'm registered has a lot of foreigner cases. Like it's same criminal, but like especially like US military related. So whenever I get some cases like that, and they come with wearing uniform, and they bring like subordinate or like boss with a lot of like rank. So I don't know, I just feel intense when they come like 2 or 3 people and they're big people. So I have to like calm down. I start like beating hard, like fast. So I was wondering how you cope with like being nervous. How do you handle those?
So let me tell you one thing, and then you guys can share whatever. That first of all, this may be their first time to court, especially in a Korean, with a Korean judge. And I think that they're more nervous than you. Only they dress to make themselves feel good. They do the same thing here, but I think they're more nervous than you, unless they just don't care and they've gotten many traffic tickets and they've done whatever. But to be in a foreign courtroom where everyone speaks a foreign language is very scary. And to have an interpreter who is there for me is is a relief. And they know if you do your job well. And I don't know how it is in Korea, but I know in Japan, it's very different than it is in America. In Japan, you sit in the middle and you're not by the defendant. You're very neutral. You're actually a part of the court and they put you in the middle and then you're just consecutively interpreting. But sometimes they don't even let you interpret certain things like discussions. So it's very different. I don't know how it is in Korea. Do you stand next to the defendant?
The same, like I'm in the middle. I can't do
Oh, okay.
simultaneous.
Okay, so that's too bad because if you can't do, it's just like Zoom. You cannot do simultaneous, and it's harder to me to do a Zoom because you have to interpret everything, even the discussions that are really technically very technical in terms of legal language. Well, according to 505.3 of the penal code, we are not, and then it can be very technical. Whereas if you're simultaneously whispering, it's fine. But anyway, I think for your part, the nervousness would just be having to interpret well. But I think you have to know that they really appreciate an interpreter. I think that
your nervousness is also a sign of well, professionalism, really, in a way, when you think about it, because it's you really want to do well and you've prepared and
Yes.
so it's
So I think preparation, and I think preparation is number 2. I know that when I prepare well, I feel a lot better. The good thing about you sitting down, if you get to, is that you can put all your paperwork in front of you. You don't have to stand there, but you can actually lay it out with your glossary, make sure you read what law they broke very carefully. You know how to say it in English and you practice it. And then if they're actually reading the law that they broke, you're able to read it because you did your homework ahead of time. I know in America, or at least here in Hawaii, we can actually go on and see the case and see how many times they've met before and where they are in the whole procedure. Yeah, so I think as long as you are very well prepared, you know your vocabulary, it takes away some of the nervousness. The other thing is you can smile because they're looking at you and the judge doesn't see you smile at them. So sometimes I'll just smile and it will take away some of their nervousness. Number 2, I think if you dress really, really nicely, it brings confidence. So at least it does to me. When I'm dressed nice, people walk up, oh, excuse me, are you an attorney? I'm like, well, no, but I feel good. Yeah, so I think that is, anybody else have any suggestions?
I interpreted like for different military people, right? Like over when I was, but it was more in the medical field. But and I can tell
nervousness.
you, yeah, and I can tell you that a few of these people told me that they were hiding, like Sue said, they do hide the nervousness or the anxiety behind their uniform. That's true. Yeah, definitely.
Anyone else have any suggestions about the nervousness? Breathe deep. Okay, there's some
Yeah.
YouTube videos I can take.
Sometimes I just like take deep breaths and I just think that I'm like like something that is easy. I don't try to make it look like I always think that I always can do the job. That's how I look at it.
Good. Very good.
And think at the end you'll have you'll feel stronger because you'll have, overcome one hurdle. So
Alofa, did you want to say anything? You guys were talking at the same time, so.
No, I was just gonna add, I agreed on what you said. I mean, if you are well prepared, on what you are going to, what is the case is all about. And also, you just have to be yourself. And like you said, dress up nice, and hey, I can do that. Have that kind of thinking, that hey, I can do it. I'm not nervous, but you are. But just that's what I
smile.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, good. And that smiling brings confidence
Right.
and it makes other people smile back and they might even ask you out for a date. You never know what's gonna happen. Chen, did you want to say something?
I get nervous because when I go into a job and if I look at the job information, that doesn't provide me with much details. So I get nervous not knowing what to expect. I don't know how to prepare for it. If whether or not it's a routine checkup or it's something serious, because if the job doesn't provide me any information. So when that happens, I get nervous because I don't know how to prepare for it. I don't know what to. I don't want something unexpected to happen, and then shows I'm ill prepared, and I don't perform well. So most of the time, if that's the case, if I run into the patient early when I arrive, I would ask them, hi, I would introduce myself. Hi, my name is so and so. I am your interpreter. Just the general question, what are you coming in for today? I would ask I would ask the patient, or if I arrive early at the check-in desk, I would ask the receptionist at the front desk. Okay, I'm here for this patient. Has the patient arrived yet? Do we happen to know what they're in for today? So if they haven't arrived, okay, I'm going to prepare myself. If they tell me, okay, today is just routine or today is just imaging, and before the patient arrives, I would quickly prepare myself towards that direction. So that's how I get rid of my nervousness.
So what do you guys think about him asking the patient what they're in here today for? Because the answer might be, I've been having this pain back here. It won't go away. I haven't been sleeping very well. And I did this and I did this and this is what's happening. And what do you think? Do you think I should whatever? The doctor talks about this, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should have this? And then when they go in, well, what are you here for? Oh, the interpreter knows. Go ahead and tell them.
We supposed to just interpreter when we have three parties, just between the doctor, the patient, and the interpreter. We don't supposed to have a side conversation about what is going on with the patient, because they can be confusing and they think that we can help with that. So just from don't have a miscommunication, it's better just to wait until we are inside the doctor's office.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, there are also sometimes there are intake forms. So before they even see the doctor, I have to ask them a whole bunch of questions. And a lot of times one of the questions on top is the reason why you're here today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you're doing your job. And thank God you found out. But for you to actually go up and say that to the patient when there's other people around who might understand Chinese, and they might even be with somebody who they didn't want to go in with them because they don't want them to know. Like last week, I did one where she came with a guy. I assumed it was a husband, but I think I was wrong because she went in and said, "Oh, you stay here." She went in and found out she had a sexual transmitted disease, a STD. And she was shocked about it, but she was wondering, do I? Because, I have What, I mean, it's just so improper to do that in a waiting room when anyone could be hearing it. Even the receptionist maybe speaks some Chinese or whatever. You just don't know. So although you're trying to make your life easier, you're breaking the code of ethics because the code of ethics very clearly states, does anyone know?
The confidentiality.
Confidentiality, that's
Confidentiality.
one. Well, that's one, but what else? Anybody? It says an interpreter, well, here, let me show you. The confidentiality is one thing, but remember when it talks about role boundaries? It says, let me show you, I'm going to share my screen. And this will be on a test, so make sure you do know this, you know. So if you remember this part, it talks about, let's see. This is about role boundaries. And if you remember role boundaries, interpreters shall use first person speech, to help facilitate as much direct communication as possible. And then the second one, interpreters will maintain proper role boundaries, avoiding all unnecessary contact with the parties during and outside the interpreting situation. So if you're not interpreting, you're not supposed to be having these conversations with them. And of course, the third one is you will not interject your personal opinion or give counsel or advice to individuals who you're interpreting. Many times they will ask you, do you think, that the doctor wants me to have this surgery, but I'm really uncomfortable. I'm not sure what and then who knows, just talking to you might bring up all kinds of things. So this is a very dangerous thing to do. Yeah. And even most of the time, if you ask, I mean, I like the way you asked it of the receptionist, do we know why the patient's here? But again, you're asking in front of them, and there might be other people in the waiting room, and they're not going to say anything detailed to you. They're not going to be honest with you, Chun. They will not. They will say, oh, a routine follow-up. Oh, it's an after hospital visit, or it's just to follow up on. They're not going to tell you the details, and they don't even know the details because you know why? It's private. So they can only see what they can see. Yeah, they can't see the details. So it's just, this is why interpreters need to prepare for the long run. Like if I'm sitting there and I know I'm in, like one time I went and it was all about what's the veins? What is that? It was like it was all about blood vessels. What do we call that department? Cardiology and oh my God, I can't remember. What is it? Patricia, do you know? Cardiology and this is the V. Anyway, all I knew is it was about blood vessels. So I just started doing my homework. I started looking at my previous times that we met in the past. I opened up my glossary that I keep writing more and more and more. And I looked at blood issues. I looked at all the blood issues that I had in here. Oh, cardiovascular. So then it was in the vascular, some kind of department. It wasn't cardio, but it was vascular. So then I was looking up, what is common? Arteries, blood clots, but no, that would be cardio. So vascular is probably the veins, and maybe it's varicose veins, maybe it's some other kind of, and I just started looking it up. Then I opened up my dictionary so that when we started, and and I have a lot of good vocabulary. I know you can't see because it's too bright, but I got a lot of good stuff on here. And so when they began, I had my dictionary open and I just looked at it. And sometimes I'll say, excuse me, doctor, the interpreter's looking this up to see how you say this in Chinese because I want to be accurate. And as long as you blame it on your accuracy, they will definitely give you time. Excuse me, doctor, how do you spell that word? I mean, I want to be accurate and I would like to look this up. Now, some of you can't even do that. So somebody like the Marshallese, like Brenda, she may say, oh, excuse me, doctor, could you explain what that means? Yeah, because we don't have that word in Marshallese and I would like to be accurate. And they want you to be accurate. So they definitely will give you time. Okay. So just prepare for the long run and hope that it's something that you've had in the past. That's all I can say. All right, Tuppy.
I was going to say same things as Chan. I did that mistake before when in an assignment they put me wellness. So it was too general. So I was curious um to know what happened with the patient, but we were alone in the weight room. But even like that, I just remember the code of ethics because it was recently. So I was like, I make a mistake. But thanks for me, nobody was around us because the Kihei one is smaller, so there's not too many people in that location. In that case, I'm glad I did because the patient was looking like really kind of nervous, and maybe because I just how you doing today? I'm going to be like your interpreter, and we have like a really tiny small conversation. She breathed and was like, "Oh, I didn't know that was you. I have this." She's an older person, so she explained me that she always speaks to a machine, and I never see it until we enter over there. So she was really happy to see me. And I was surprised because some of the nurses also didn't know about our shop because they used to get like that machine all the time. So it's like, oh, we didn't know. Well, we are happy to see you. That was like really, I was feeling really welcome. So was okay with the patient. Actually, she was really like appreciate that I was there.
And you always want to translate that. You
Yeah.
always somehow want to promote the interpreting, that there's live interpreters here. And that not only helps your own job, but it helps the company's name be out there. So you can, so that was, oh, I always use the machine. I'm so happy about. So when they call your name, you just say, oh, nurse, I just wanted to let you know what she just said. I wanted to interpret it to you. She said, I am so happy that there is a live interpreter because I always get the machine and I'm very uncomfortable with that machine. I just wanted to interpret
Actually,
that to you.
I did because when we were going to the doctor's office, with the machine was there. I was the first time that I saw that machine. So when I saw it, the nurse realized that I like smile, like laughing about the machine thing because of what the patient was saying. That looks like an alien. We can say Marciano. I was talking with that Marciano thing. Like she is the funny one that I call you. So I was like, okay, yeah, it's
Oh, yeah,
green.
machine. Yeah.
And then
Very
she's
good.
like
Okay.
older, so she was like, oh, she was
Good,
saying
good,
that
good.
she really appreciates to have a in person like interpreter because she feels much. And also like she was telling me in this case because of her technology like appointment was happy to be a woman because she
Good.
asked a lot of
Yeah.
questions that she was like ashamed to ask
Good.
in front of a
Good.
man.
And we always want to make sure we interpret that. Yeah. That
Yeah.
she was very appreciative that there's a woman, there's a female interpreter, and that they're live in person. Good. All right. We're running out of time. Anyone is dying to say anything before we go on?
Okay, I have an incident happen.
Sure.
One elderly, lady in the medical, some kind of hospital visit. Somehow she was so nervous. She wanted me to hold her hand. Just some kind of not serious matter, but she was very nervous. She was always asking me to hold her hand. So I hold her hand. Is it okay? Because I hold her hand to make her calm and feel her better. Is it okay?
Especially if they're going to get a shot and they're super nervous, or they're going to get
Super
some
nervous.
procedure done. Very often they want that kind of comfort.
I did it a
And
lot. I did
yeah,
it
that's
many,
definitely,
many
but let me just say
times.
one thing. If you need to take notes, you need your hands. So sometimes in the beginning, you could always hold your hand, but if the doctor's saying something, you just a minute, and then you got to start writing notes. But in the beginning, yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, yeah, and the French do it. The French do it, right, Patricia? Yeah. The Chinese, I've never had, maybe an older lady. I saw a man who really wanted me to hold his hand. He was so nervous about going to a English speaking doctor. But of course, he didn't ask me to hold his hand. I wasn't going to do it. But But sometimes you're just that nervous. Yeah. Interesting.
Okay, yeah.
I think one time, was it you, Patricia? They were having an operation or somebody having a baby or something, and they held the hands so tight, they're like squeezing it where like it really, really hurt. It's like,
And I had like red marks, but I mean, it was okay. It was a it was a it was one
procedure.
of those painful procedure.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, you know, yeah, I had red marks for
It
2
happens.
days.
It happens. Oh, it happens. So, okay, let's move on. Because I know that I do want to take a break, but when we come back, I want to use the whole time to do note-taking techniques and to practice with everybody watching. So that could be challenging, but I'm going to ask one of you to be the parent or the patient or something, and then another one who speaks your language to be the interpreter. And then, as long as you don't mind, we're going to do an evaluation with everybody. So it's kind of nerve-wracking. Some of you don't have another partner to do that, but I want you to watch and take good notes on what you think the interpreter did really well, and what you, at least in English, you understood, and then what you think they can improve and make suggestions. So we're all going to figure out this evaluative feedback. We're going to be open to it, right, as good students of interpreting, and we're going to be practicing together. And then I'll probably will break you into groups. So that's everyone.
And again, nothing personal. It's not personal. It's
Yeah.
normal feedback.
Okay, so let's take a break. 10 minutes. I'll see you soon. Word. I just talked about going to the hawaiitranslators.org website and signing up for this Saturday's webinar, their first webinar called Interpreting for Schools, the IEP meetings and special education. It's very difficult, and you can join by Zoom 9 to 11 at hawaiitranslators.org. All right, very good. Okay, there's 2 special speakers. It's going to be awesome. So Maria is going to be translating, and then we have our the 911 caller, which will be Choppy. Okay, so she's going to follow a script. I'm going to be, and everybody take notes of the good, bad, and ugly. Okay, just take notes, and we're going to share evaluation when we're done. Okay, so let me grab mine, and again, this is a 911 call. If I can get back on my call, sorry. Oh, here we go.
Maria, you start.
No,
They
no,
can send me the script.
no,
I'm gonna
she's not
translate.
Maria is the interpreting, Choppy. You're the one who's the LEP.
Yeah, but it's a
Yeah?
client too.
Okay, so the client is, don't worry about that. That's me. I'm the operator.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, is this the one that says 911? Do you need police, fire? That one? Is that the one you have? Okay, here we go. 911, do you need police, fire, or medical help?
911, ¿necesitas policía, un departamento de bomberos?
Okay, I'm going to stop because with a 911 call, you cannot be that slow. You have to speed up so that everyone knows this is an urgent matter. Yeah. So let's just keep it going. Okay. So we're gonna.
One second.
I think I gave you the wrong one.
Yeah, so I was going to say I don't have that one. That's like, hi interpreter, I have a Spanish speaker on the line.
Yeah, that's different. Okay, I'm gonna do that one. Okay, we're gonna change and go to another one. Okay. We're gonna start. Wait, hold on. Let's see the other. I got a couple different ones, so. Okay,
Sorry.
so here we go. So why don't you say, Choppy, you begin with, hello, Spanish interpreter, may I help you? Okay, you begin.
So I mean the client instead of the.
No. You have no idea. I'm calling you and
Oh.
I am the client and you're the interpreter. So you're going to answer this pre-session is not important. But we'll just follow this. Okay, so I'm calling you, you pick up. This is a phone one. Say hello, Spanish interpreter. Okay, ding ding ding. Okay, go ahead.
Hello, Spanish interpreter.
Hi, interpreter. I have a Spanish speaker on the line. Can you ask them what the emergency is?
¿Cuál es su emergencia? Acabamos
Wait
de
a minute.
chocar. Oh.
I'm wrong. You're not the interpreter. I'm confusing everybody. I apologize.
Yes,
I should
I'm
be talking.
confused too.
Maria, I apologize. You're the interpreter. So you're the one who should be answering. Hello, Spanish interpreter. So go ahead, Maria. We'll start over.
Hello, Spanish interpreter.
Hi, interpreter. I have a Spanish speaker on the line. Can you please ask them what the emergency is?
Hola, del otro lado está el intérprete de español. ¿Podría decirnos cuál es su emergencia, por favor?
Acabamos de chocar.
We just had crash.
Oh, okay. So I need to know the location of the accident and if anyone is injured.
Necesito la locación del accidente y si alguien está herido.
And I'm sorry, did you speak English to me? Did you just speak English or did you? Oh, that's right.
No,
Continue.
I'm
Okay, that's fine.
translating.
I'm getting confused myself. Okay. First of all, I need to know the location of the accident and is anyone injured?
Primero necesito saber la locación del accidente y si hay alguien herido.
Estamos en la esquina de Camino de Real y Arbolada.
We are in the corner of the road of the Real and Arbolada.
The corner of Camino Real, is that correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, don't answer me, just interpret.
Sorry. Is it
Yeah,
you confusing me? I don't know who is
No,
when you're stopping
Okay,
to.
so you're at the corner of Camino Real and Arboleda or something, is that correct?
Está en la esquina del Camino Real y en la Arboleda. ¿Eso es correcto?
Sí, estamos en la esquina de Camino Real y Arbolada.
Yes, we are in the corner del Camino Real en Arbolada.
Is Arboleda spelled Arboleda? And is anyone else injured? Is anyone injured?
Este se deletrea REALARBOL. ¿Y si hay alguien herido?
Sí, así se deletrea. Parece que mi hermano se ha quebrado el brazo.
Yes, this is spelled right, but look like my brother is just broke his arm.
Okay, the ambulance and the police are on the way. Is anyone in the other vehicle injured?
La ambulancia está en el camino. Queremos saber si hay alguien del otro vehículo herido.
Veo 2 personas dentro del carro, pero no le podría decir porque yo he salido de mi carro.
Yes, it's 2 people in the car, but I cannot tell you because I've been out of my car.
Because I'm sorry, because what, interpreter?
Because I stay in my car, I've been not getting out of my car.
Could you say that one more time, please?
Yes, it's 2 other people in the other car, but I don't be able to get out of my own car.
Oh, I see. Okay. Are you able to get out of the car safely or you cannot?
Oh, eso veo. ¿Usted puede salir de su carro seguramente o no puede salir?
You can change things, Chappy. It's okay.
Ah, okay, I was like,
Sticking
sí,
to the
puedo
regular, but you
salir.
know.
Yes, I can.
Okay, get out of the car and check if the other people are able to get out of their car, please.
Por favor, salga del vehículo y si puede ver que las otras personas puedan salir de su vehículo.
Bueno, permítame un momento y voy a ir a ver qué puedo hacer.
Yes, wait a minute. I will check if I can do it.
Thank you. Tell your brother to wait on the side of the road while you check on the other car.
Dile a tu hermano que espera del otro lado del carro para mientras tú puedas checar a los otros del carro.
Las 2 mujeres salieron del carro y parecen estar bien, solo un poco asustadas.
Two women already get off of the car, but look like they're already scared.
I'm sorry, two women's, is that what you said? Two women?
Lo siento, ¿dice usted que son dos mujeres?
Sí, sí, dos mujeres.
Yes, two women.
Okay, and they look okay?
¿Y ellas se ven bien?
Sí, parecen estar bien, pero solo están asustadas.
Yes, they look be okay, but they're just scared.
Just a scar?
Scared.
Scared. Okay. Please wait by the side of the road and stay away from the vehicle in case of a fire. The ambulance and the police are on their way. And stay with me on the phone. Let me know if there's any changes, okay?
Por favor, está bien. Espera fuera del vehículo y para que no pueda haber ningún incendio y la sorry, I lost it. Can you repeat what you say? Interpret any clarification what you say, please.
Yeah, please wait by the side of the road and stay away from the vehicle in case of fire. And the ambulance and the police are on the way. But stay with me on the phone and let me know if there are any changes. Okay?
Por favor, espere a un lado del vehículo en caso de un incendio. Por favor, espere afuera y la ambulancia y la policía están en camino.
Ok, muchísimas gracias. Ya veo la ambulancia.
Okay, thank you so much. I can see the ambulance.
Oh, great. Oh, okay, very good. Yeah, I hope you stay safe.
Oh, muy bien. Eso veo. Espero que usted se mantenga salva.
Thank you.
Okay, yay! Okay, good. Let's have a talk. All right. So the first of all, let's ask the interpreter Maria how she felt.
Well, a little overwhelmed because you speak so fast.
Who speaks fast?
You.
That's
You.
interesting. Did you all think I was speaking fast? I did not. Yeah. But who was speaking fast?
Me.
Yeah. Choppy was speaking fast because she was acting as if, I'm in an accident. Oh my God, I need help. And that's usually how it goes. But what's interesting, she was speaking 100 miles an hour, but Maria didn't feel it was that bad because Spanish is your first language. But when I was speaking, I was very slow, very calm, very steady. And yet you were trying to take notes. Is that right, Maria?
Yes.
Yeah. So you felt that I was speaking fast. I was not speaking fast. That's interesting. If I was speaking fast, I'd say, go, okay, now listen, you got to stay in the car, let your brother stay in the car while you go out of the car and you make sure that those two ladies are okay. That's fast. I was not speaking fast enough.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's the
And
pressure.
excuse me?
It's the pressure. Like we want to do
It's the
it correctly.
pressure, nervousness. Yeah. Comments, anybody? Let me ask one thing. When I said at the very end, and I think only Choppy can say whether or not she was accurate. What did you think? Especially Choppy, especially toward the end, the one about when I was giving a lot of instructions, please stay by the road, the side of the road, stay away from the vehicle, in case of a fire, ambulance and the police on the way, stay with me on the phone, let me know if there's any changes. Was that accurate? Because it seemed shorter than what I said.
I think it seems shorter than that.
Maria, do you know if do you remember if you interpreted this? Stay by the side of the road and stay away from the vehicle in case of fire. Did you interpret that?
I think I minimize some words in Spanish.
Yeah, but did you say get by the side of the road and stay stay away from the vehicle in case of fire? Or did you skip the part about the side of the road?
No, I say, espere en el camino, espere en el camino.
Okay, and then the ambulance and, yeah, go ahead, Tuppy.
That's true. She said like to wait on the side of the vehicle in case of a fire. The only part that
So
she skip is the phone part, like for you to be there in the
stay
phone.
with me on the phone and let me know if there's any changes. So she dropped the last sentence, right?
Just that part.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
About stay with me on the, okay, very good. Now, did you say stay by the vehicle or stay by the side of the road and away from the vehicle?
Quédese a un lado del vehículo. Stay outside. Out. Now I'm
Stay away
confusing. You
from.
want to say in Spanish? Yeah.
Okay, so, but my whole point is that sometimes when it gets long and we don't take good notes, we tend to say, okay, stay away from the vehicle. And then we didn't say anything about staying on the side of the road. So or we, or we get confused, stay by the side of the vehicle.
Correct.
Rather than stay by the side of the road and away from the vehicle, which is probably not on the side of the road. It's probably in the middle of the road. So so it's easy if our note taking isn't good. So how was your notes? Did you feel like you needed help working on it?
Yeah, I need to work out because I cannot do very fast taking notes.
Okay, good. Now, what was my problem? What does everybody think was my problem during that that whole role play?
I have during I guess somewhere in the middle of the conversation, I wasn't sure if about the dialogue. I wasn't sure if you were talking to her because you guys keep going back and forth with each other, and I didn't see some of the words being interpreted. So I wasn't really sure what.
Okay, what did I kept doing? Anybody notice the
Asking
problem I was having? Yeah, I kept asking because,
of the words aren't clear.
yeah, it was the pronunciation.
Oh,
And this is very easy for Spanish speakers to have a very thick accent, and you need to recognize it. Koreans have their accent, you need to overcome it. Spanish have their accent, you need to overcome it. Ilocano, whatever, Chinese have their accent, Hindi has their accent, you guys need to overcome it if it's your first language. Because if English is your second language, you need to be clear in English and any interpreting, whatever language it is, your second language has to be clear so that the person listening won't misunderstand. So what I was noticing is that when you interpreted, you would say things like, I would say, what? Could you repeat that? What did you say? Get the what? And I just didn't understand the English because you would add like they look like two women. It became women's, and you added an S to women or something. So it becomes all women's. But then they look a bit scared. They are a bit scared. You said asquerdo, asquerdo, and then you add a oh or something on the end, and you add a before the scared. So isn't it interesting? But that's a Spanish thing to do. They look asquerdo, but the when you add it to an English, an American speaker will be listening for a what? Yeah. So they look a little scared. Yeah. Can you say that, Maria? They look a little scared.
They look a little scared. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have
And
an accent.
yeah. And I remember now you didn't say the D at all. You said a scare. A scare. They look a
Yeah,
little scared.
I will practice that.
Yeah, scared. You have to say the duh, and that's hard for you. Yeah. So
Scared.
yeah, those are the things. Scared. Very good. So all of you, need to practice in your own language, whatever the problem is. But definitely you can record yourself and find it. Yeah. Okay. So any other comments before we move on? All right, that was good. Now I want to switch. We'll keep to the Spanish since I have two of them. So now I'm going to switch to a different Spanish, and this one's a bit harder, but all you have to do is read the Spanish. So let me send this to you. Let me come. What is this? Send this to Maria. your, I don't, I gotta find your, sorry. It's, what is your email address, Maria?
LOLIT1984@hotmail.com.
Oh, LOLIT, I got it. 1984, that one?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
At
very good. Okay,
hotmail.com. Yes.
got it. Okay. All right, so I'm going to send you something we're going to do this other role-play. And it is this one. Okay, here we go. I just sent it to you. Let's see if you can get it. So what's going to happen is this one is has to do with an insurance company, and it is, pull it up here. It's a settlement dispute, and so the insurance is maybe it's a continuation of this problem we had, okay, and this accident, and they're just disputing the insurance company. The insurance company doesn't want to pay them or whatever. Okay, and so once you get it, let me know, and you will be reading the part. You will be the LEPP. So whenever you see LEPP, that will be you. And anyway, you just be reading the Spanish. Okay.
Okay.
So let me know when you get it. Are you ready?
Yeah. I try to open it. Just give me a second.
Okay. Okay.
It's just
very
my
good.
internet is not too fast.
Oh, sorry. Maybe your phone or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, this is an investigation, and the insurance company decided some things, and
Okay. Okay. I got it.
yeah. Okay, so you're the LEPP. Okay, here we go. Hello, interpreter, and that's going to be choppy. Okay. Hello,
Okay.
interpreter. I have an individual on the line, and her name is Maria, and she needs interpreting. Can I ask you, please ask how I can help her? Choppy, you're interpreting. So unmute. She's just watching. You're the only other Spanish speaker we have. So everyone pay attention. You can also be interpreting by yourself, but also,
Yeah.
let's try to give suggestions.
Sorry,
I'm going to
Sue.
start over.
I speak, but I was on mute.
Unmute. Okay. So go ahead and speak if you remember.
¿En
You want me to
¿Cómo la
start
puedo
over?
ayudar?
Nomás lo quiero saber es por qué me están cobrando el 15%.
I just want to know why they are charging me the 15%.
Well, as I explained before, based on the investigation and the assessment that was provided, she was part of the accident, and she never took any actions to avoid the accident. And she didn't even try to stop to avoid it.
Bueno, lo que le quería explicar era que sorry, le quería explicar que la investigación.
Let me stop right there.
Sorry.
Let me stop there. So everyone should be seeing what's happening. It's going to get confusing if I talk to the interpreter. So the interpreter's goal is to get me to talk directly to the client. Okay? So she has to say, excuse me, it's a lot easier if you just speak directly to your client, and I'll be happy to interpret. Because I'm saying she, who in the world is she? Right? I'm saying, well, she didn't do this, and she does a interpreter. Could you ask her? Interpreter, could you tell her? That should be stopped immediately, or everyone would be confused, especially the interpreter. So interpreter, go ahead and tell me and ask me politely if I could just speak to her directly so that you can interpret.
Could you please speak directly to the client so I can interpret her for her?
You can interpret her for her or interpret.
For you.
Okay. Oh, sure. I apologize. Let me just explain. So as I explained before, ma'am, based on the investigation and the assessment that you provided, Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. So based on the investigation and the assessment, you were part of the accident, but it seems you never took any actions to avoid the accident. And you didn't even try to stop.
Basada en la investigación y en los hechos, usted fue parte del accidente y nunca tomó acciones ni se detuvo para hacerlo.
Pero si me pegó de lado, ¿cómo podía ver? Él iba cruzando la intersección y me pegó de lado.
So, how can I see it if he crashed me for the side? How can I see it if I crash it for the side? Me pegó de lado.
Okay, could you explain that? And then just repeat, by the way.
She's saying that she couldn't see, like, I assume, in a car coming because crashed on one of the sides of the car, I assume. Me pegó de lado.
Okay,
Mario?
so
Sí.
when I say I don't understand, can you explain it? What should the interpreter say?
Sorry.
Okay,
No,
don't explain anything. I know you know what it means, but just interpret. Just
No.
interpret.
No entendí, ¿lo puede repetir otra vez?
And then
Pero
just
si me
repeat it.
pegó de lado, ¿cómo podía ver? Él iba cruzando la intersección y me pegó de lado.
So, how can I see him if he crashed me for the side? He was crossing the intersection and he just crashed me on the side.
The reason why we applied this is because in the lane of traffic, in the collision between his vehicle and the other vehicle, oh, sorry, I have to change this to you. Let me change all this. Okay. The reason why we applied this 15% is because in the lane of traffic, in the collision between your vehicle and the other vehicle, you did not have a stop sign, but you never saw a person coming. And our injured, I have a feeling this is the party, okay, of the other party. Okay. Our insured, okay. And the problem is you cross multiple lanes of traffic, 3 or 4 of them. And the other party, his name is Jose, got you into the traffic. Okay, this makes no sense. I apologize, everybody. Whoever wrote this is whatever. So
It's getting
let me
more
just say
difficult.
this. Yeah, I'm just gonna make up stuff. Okay. It seems that you weren't even in the right lane. It seems that you had crossed multiple lanes. And so when the other party came, you got in an accident.
Parece que usted cruzó múltiples líneas y cuando no lo vio cruzar, causó múltiples accidentes.
Él se cruzó y se pasó el stop sign. Yo iba por el carril bien.
He crossed and he crossed for the stop sign. I was in the right way.
Well, okay, we understand that, but at this time, we are only going to accept 85% of your damages. You need to pay attention.
Bueno, nosotros entendemos eso, pero usted tiene que asumir los costos del 85% de los de los pérdidas ocasionadas.
Pero ¿por qué el 85% si él causó el accidente? Él tiene que ser 100% culpable.
Why the 85% of the accident if he caused the accident, he should be the one that pay for the 100%.
Well, you are a driver. You must make sure you are completely looking out just to make sure it's safe to change lanes, making sure there's no other vehicle approaching when you are entering an intersection. Then you can avoid hitting other vehicles.
Bueno, usted es bueno, usted es el conductor, así que debería estar completamente seguro antes de cruzar para no causar ese accidente. The interpreter needs to repeat like what you just said.
Yeah, you do need to repeat. Oh, you want me to repeat?
Yes.
The interpreter would like you to repeat what you said, right? Okay, let me do it again. And everyone try to interpret. It's very confusing. Okay. You are a driver that needs to watch out and make sure that before you change lanes, that no other vehicle is approaching, especially when entering an intersection.
Perfecto. Usted es el conductor que necesita ver y comprobar que no haya otro vehículo aproximándose antes de cruzar entre líneas, interseccional, entre líneas para asegurarse de no causar ningún accidente.
Si ya iba pasando la intersección, cuando uno pasa la intersección ya uno no se fija.
If I was crossing already the intersection, when someone crossed the intersection, they stop watching it.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you repeat that?
Yeah.
Now, at this case, let me stop. If the interpreter knows it's her problem and it's not the original person's problem, you can always interpret that and let her repeat it. But in this case, it really is the interpreter. You could always say, let the interpreter try again. And
Okay.
it might come out better the next time. But you can always just interpret it and she'll repeat it.
Okay. Can you repeat? ¿Puedes repetir otra vez lo que dijiste así lo interpretó?
Si ya iba pasando la intersección, cuando uno pasa la intersección ya uno no se fija.
If I already was crossing the intersection, once you cross intersection, you stop watching.
Well, you should have the ability to be defensive, to protect yourself and see other vehicles approaching the traffic. That's why we are accepting 85%. The vehicle that is already in the intersection should be visible. So you must be looking to your sides to make sure it's safe to go into the intersection.
Bueno, usted debería cubrir el 65%, ya que cuando usted cruza la intersección debería poder visualizar el vehículo y estar seguro antes de cruzar.
Okay, we're going to
Okay.
stop here. We're going to stop here and let's discuss. Okay, so how did you feel, Tapi?
Bad. And this one was really confusing back and forward all the time. And also, sorry guys, but I'm watching all your faces because I don't know what I do with my phone. So it's really distracting. And now I don't,
Okay.
it's not that I only see you. I saw all of you, one trying to interpret there, one laughing, the other one is like, oh my God, is she doing good? So that was like crazy to me.
So that brought nervousness, knowing that everyone is watching and paying attention. And just let me tell you, if you flick it to the right, everyone will disappear. You'll only see the person talking. But
Yeah,
if you flick it to the left, swipe it to the left, you'll see everybody. Okay, on the phone especially. So, okay, so that made you nervous. All right. And it was confusing. What I was saying, and you guys weren't there. I wasn't there. I don't know what they're talking about, you know, and the interpreter had a hard time understanding. She was approaching the intersection or did she pass the intersection? And so it was very confusing to all of us because she was saying a story Maria was saying a story, it sounded like I was saying it's it's in the intersection, and she's saying, well, you pass she already passed the intersection. So it's very, very confusing. And so it can be confusing, but I think the most important thing is that we clarify. If you don't know what she's saying, you've got to clarify. So this is a prime example of it's not making sense if it's the other person's fault. Yeah, so it'd be nice if we did understand that. But anyway, did you know how to interpret everything, Choppy? Like assessment,
Well,
investigation,
I mean, like
intersection.
there was a lot of words that intersection, yes, I used it, but that I have like just to use common sense, like for the entire sentence, just for like translating in Spanish. And some of the words were kind of similar, but it was really like, you know, when you have in your tongue like make a, like an app because you want to say it in English and the Spanish is right there. I was like, okay, how can I explain this in backwards and this and that?
Okay.
Because it's crossing path back and forward.
Well, let me tell you your problems, and this is probably what everyone will realize. It's the grammar that confused me. So if you're using the wrong preposition, it's gonna come out as a different meaning. And you actually changed twice because I don't think you knew. Like you said, he crashed me. We don't say he crashed me. We can say he hit me, but not he crashed me. So how do we use the term crashed? Anybody?
Hit,
Collide.
No, how do we use the term crash in a sentence?
Oh,
And we don't say he collided me.
He crashed into me or
Yeah,
into my
so we
car.
say he crashed into something, into my car, into me. So you need the preposition into. The second, so you said he crashed me for the side. He crashed me, and then the second time you said it, he crashed me on the side. So it should be he crashed into me. How do we put that together? Raymond, let me ask you, how should we put that together in a good English sentence? Just simple. He crashed.
He crashed into the side of my car or into the.
Yeah. There's no me. Yeah. He crashed into my car. He crashed into the side of my car. Yeah. He crashed into the side of my car. And that is, and that is what we do. So that if we mix up our prepositions, then it can be very challenging. So I think the biggest problem, I'm going to be honest with you, Choppy, is your grammar. And that's something you can work on. So for example, you said in right way instead of you said I was in right way. But the right of way in traffic terms mean I had the right of way. Right? That means she should have let me go first. I had the right of way. But I think what you were trying to say is I was in the correct lane. And instead of lane, you said way. And instead of correct, you said right. Because when we're talking with cars, it can be right or left. So that's confusing. Or the right of way, which is a saying, it was my
right
authority. Yeah, my right to go first. So that's what the right of way means. So that was kind of an issue. Yeah, stuff like that. And I think that if you worked on your grammar, it would be a lot better. So there are classes you can take on grammar. There also are classes you can take on pronunciation, and Maria, especially you and some others. And you can just go and say how to improve my English pronunciation. Just search how to
There
improve
is
my English pronunciation.
a lot of help on the internet too, like a webinar that that are recorded, that
Just
are
go-
free. Yeah, just
Just
search.
watch.
Yeah.
Just search. Some places you need to pay. Why not? How to increase my English grammar, how to better my English grammar. Yeah. So I think that would help both of you. And I know that we're out of time. I really wanted to do the Chinese one, but it's actually 8:20. And so I wanted to explain a little bit that I wanted everyone to see that it can be really difficult unless we really practice. And some of you are good enough that you can practice in real life. In other words, it's real. And others of you probably need to improve certain things about your grammar, your whatever, your own language before you start taking jobs. So I want all of you to start taking jobs. Toppy, you're already doing jobs. So now it's a responsibility of all of us to serve our clients and serve the LEP well. And that means
That's
we
part
should,
of our continuing education, right?
yeah. That's part of our professionalism. So I'm going to strongly recommend that some of you just start listening to TED Talks and repeating it, repeating things over and over. As you're listening to podcasts, you can repeat it. You can stop and repeat it until we get really fast and very accurate with our pronunciation. It's, I used to copy the radio, and the radio can be fast. Give you an example. Good morning, America. How are you doing? This is Rick with 411K, whatever. So, and I would just practice intonation because I didn't need to practice words because I spoke English. But when it came for the Chinese radio, when I was listening in Chinese when I lived there, I realized this is so fast. I can't even copy it. So, as a podcast, I can slow it down. So now when I'm listening to something, whether it be the news broadcast, I go to YouTube and I play it at 75% or 50% because I don't understand it at 100%. It's so fast. And the news can be challenging for me. So that's one way that you can do it in an English environment. Just slow down the YouTube and start repeating it. Yeah. When I was younger, and just say, when I was young, I used to catch the bus. I used to catch the bus. I would get on the bus. Oh, it's not in the bus. It's on the bus. Oh, it's not in. I would get in the bus. I would get on the bus. I would get off the bus. It's not in and out of the bus. And all of a sudden you start realizing, oh, this grammar I never knew. Yeah. So it really would really, really help you, I think. Okay. So again, in the future, next week is our final. I want to strongly recommend you really review your ethics. That's a really big part. And note taking, and the readings, if you can, finish those. Not all of them.
Glossary?
I'm gonna.
There will be like 3 parts. It's like the first part is true and false. Then the second part is just some questions you might have to answer very short answers. And then the last one is a scenario that you will be given and you'll have to,
Scenarios. So
determine,
I don't want to take
what's-
too much, but
yeah.
the point is not, but you're going to be doing it on La Lima. So you must have connectivity. And if you're someone who loses connectivity, you need to save after every question. You may have to save and then log back in and continue, save, log out. Another thing you can do that we will allow is that if you have problem with typing it, because you have to use your phone, you can't type on your phone. So what you will be able to do is take a piece of paper and write out the answers. 1, true, because whatever. Yeah. And so one thing we're doing is why, if you say false, I'm going to have you explain why it's false. Yeah. So you have to explain yourself. You need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, companies won't be rest assured and send you places, So but you will need to write. And if you'd rather use your pen to write, that's okay. Bring paper to the next assignment. Then when you're done, if you do it on Nalima, it's automatically uploaded. And you actually
you
will
have
get
to save and submit, but I
save
will,
and submit.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll I'll give
But
you all the
some of
instructions
you,
next week, but yeah.
yeah, but some of you who are going to be bringing paper with you because you just don't want to use a Laulima because it's really easy. You click and you explain. But if you want to write it on the paper, then when you're done, you're going to take a picture with your phone and you have to email it to us immediately. Yeah.
Oh, what time will it start? Like the same as like
Same.
6,
Yeah.
it will be
Yeah.
done at 8:20 or as
You'll-
soon as
yeah,
you
you'll-
finish.
Some of you, well, the first 10 minutes will be question and answer. You'll be reading, you'll be doing some of your readings if you didn't finish. Some of you will have questions about the ethics that we went over, and we're going to answer any of the questions you have in the first 10 minutes. If somebody ran into a situation and you want to bring it up, that's the time because it's the last time that we'll have. Then we're going to start the test. Some of you will be done in an hour. Others maybe 40 minutes. Some could be half an hour. And some will take an hour and a half to almost 2 hours because you're just really slow at writing.
And it's fine. I mean, you know, at least I'll be staying until you guys are all
Yeah.
done. So yeah.
So it is at least,
Okay.
I mean, until 8:20 is the max that we can use.
I don't think you'll need any farther, any more than that, Hune.
But if
I
you
just don't.
do, I'll stay.
If you
It's,
do, we'll wait.
you know,
Yeah.
yeah, no
I don't
worries.
think you should be penalized because of a lack of time. But I will be reminding you, hey guys, you only got 30 minutes, so don't be taking your time. Now, this is a closed book test. You're not allowed to stop and then go search and do that. So you must show video. So I don't know where you are and what's happening with your internet. You need to show video. And you are not allowed to do the open book. It's all closed book and it's all on memory. I'm going to tell you one thing. If you don't pass this test, I will give you one more time to take it. I do not want you to go out and find out all this, but the second time you take it, I have to change some of the questions in the test.
Sorry, so we still have to log into Zoom meeting first to meet you all.
Yes, we will be doing the test by Zoom and then Laulima.
Okay, thank
And
you.
then
Yeah.
Laulima.
And if it's separate, if you want to use your phone for Zoom and your computer for the Laulima and not, you know, you still got to get on internet. And that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
Would you have a glossary, Joe? Glossary?
You
have
don't need a glossary. You don't need a glossary. This is all in English. It's not role plays. It's not doing any interpreting. It's all question and answer. Yeah.
And
Evaluating.
the first part, true and false.
True.
It's question and answer.
Ethics, note taking, and scenario.
Yeah,
That's
it's not. Yeah, I don't need you to take notes and do a role play. No, we're not doing that. It is not a performance-based test. It's a knowledge-based test.
Okay, sorry, I need to go. I see you all.
Yeah, me
next
too. I gotta go too.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? You can always email us if you have questions. Okay, everybody? All
Okay.
right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Good night.
Good night.